Hello, I'm Ashley Howard from Scissorhands UK, and this is Charlotte Boyle. And the techniques we're showing you are all designed to make life easier when you're cutting hair, whether you're a stylist, a salon owner, anybody that's worked in the industry for any amount of time. Our model today is Sarah, and she's the kind of client that when they come in the salon, we see this all the time, don't we, Charlotte, where they've got long hair, they want to keep the length in their hair, but they want to get volume in the hair, they want to get a shape, and they don't necessarily want to cut too much length off it at all. So we're going to show them the halo technique.
Yep.
This is probably, I reckon this is probably about the easiest haircut we can show.
It is the easiest, but for me, it's probably the scariest when you first do it, because you're cutting quite deep into long hair. So although it's the easiest technique, it's the hardest to get your head around sometimes.
Yeah, you're right. And what we're going to be doing on Sarah's hair is we're going to be cutting, as Charlotte said, into the lengths of the hair to create some invisible inner layers, which are designed purely to help give her that lift on the crown and that shape that loads of ladies with long hair are looking for. So with that in mind, what we've done is we've pre-sectioned the hair. I'm going to just move Sarah around in the chair and show you the back first of all. So we've gone through the temple area into the back, just under the crown, and that halo section comes around the side to around the temple area. And the thing to look for when you're doing any of your ladies' hair is literally the amount of hair they've got, because this hair that we've left out is like the frame, the outside of the haircut. And if the client has very, very fine hair, all you need to do is move this section slightly higher, so you have a narrower halo. And the hair is very, very thick, you'll have a wider section here, but always making sure that you've left plenty of hair around the sides and again through the back for when you've finished. And when we've done this layering technique, the idea is when we've done it, you won't see any join, any disconnection at all. We want a flawless layer that's going to give us lots of volume. So now what we're going to do is we're going to section off and start cutting.
You actually see less of a disconnection with this than you would do if you were putting a solid square layer into the hair, because then you can see the ends of all the hair, whereas this softens the ends as well as adding the shorter layers in for volume.
That's absolutely true. You know, back in the day when I was doing my more traditional techniques on long hair, I don't know about you, but what I would do is I would take a guideline from the crown, and just to sort of remind people of this is the way I used to do it. This would be like on the crown. I would take the hair up, and with a traditional solid blade scissor like this, I would choose where I was going to put my guideline. And if I was going for volume, sometimes what I'd do is I would cut even as far down as this. Then what I would do, I would have to then get my client's hair from the back sections, lift it up with my comb. I'd lift the hair up. I'd end up having to over-direct really extremely, sometimes quite uncomfortably, and try and connect this short guide in with my longer hair in the hope that I'd left enough hair at the bottom, and it was quite scary actually. Yeah. But the beauty of this is the work we're doing is on the inside, and it allows us all the advantages of layering, but without cutting too much length at all. So in order to do this, the scissor that you need is, just here, is our Evo blade, which is the one with the 15 gaps here. And what we do is we take the sections, again, just like all our haircuts, we take them out at 90 degrees as if the client had had an electric shock. And you need to look at the hair and think, where am I going to get the volume from? And I'm just going to turn Sarah around. And if you imagine that this is rather like a colour chart, you would have, at the bottom here, you'd call that 0, which is down on the scalp. And here at the tips would be number 10. If you look at it in a number, from a number point of view, you need to be around about number 5/6, this area. This is where you're going to start to get the support that you need for that volume. And that's what I'm going to do now. So, very simply, lifting the hair straight up.
If we want to take length off the layers as well, do we need to do that separately?
Yeah, Well, no, actually, it isn't separately. So thanks for asking that. What we do is, and I'll show you that, I'm going to take a little bit of length off to demonstrate. So here we are around number 5 to 6. We simply cut there, there's no slice or anything, straight through, and then very easily we take the hair away that we've cut, keep hold of the section, and now you're looking at the hair that you have left, and as you go out towards the tips, you're adding these invisible layers that are the key to adding the support to the haircut. And as I get further up, I want to take a little bit of length off. I simply speed up the amount of cuts that I do there. And what you end up with is, as you can see here, very, very soft finished line. All we now do is we continue that process through the top here. So we'll do around about another 6 to 8 sections through to just before the fringe. We're going to leave the fringe. Once we've done that, we're just going to blow dry the hair and
see the body that we've put in.
See the body that we've put in. And when we've finished that, we're going to take Sarah's fringe and we're very gently going to merge that fringe into the sides. So I'm going to hand over to you now, Charlotte, and let you carry on with the layering process.
So just repeating the same section that we've done before, so just going forward through this halo section. And I do it slightly different to you, Ash. So I always look at where I want to go for volume and then what sort of length I want to take off the actual layers. So again, same sort of starting point of view for volume, but then I want to take a little bit off there, and that's my section that I want to work through. That just simplifies it when I do it.
That's great. And the great thing about this is each individual will adapt their own personal take on these principles. But it's the same thing. Yeah. We're adding volume and you're controlling the amount of weight through that section. It's the same, you just speed up to take that bit of extra length if you want to. You know, it's funny, the first time people see this and they see us do this, they think that's a little scary when they see us going in that far and taking that hair off. But again, as soon as you comb it down, you can see there's no mark in the hair at all. But when the hair's blow dried, again, we'll look and see how that blends in. So that's 2 sections. Yep. Let's just take a second and explain to people a little bit more about how they might follow a guide if they're going through the top. Because that's a question we get asked a lot, especially when they're working on long hair. And I explained to them about how we take a tiny part of the last section and fold the hair forward. Would you be okay just to show us how you get that guideline?
So I'm just going to split this in 2 just because she's got a lot of hair. And
she has got a lot of hair, yeah.
So if we take a little bit from the section before, and then as we go up,
bending the hair forward, yeah.
So we can just start to see some sections coming through there. So that would be where you started. If you wanted to follow a strict guideline from before, I have to say I don't. Because it's such a soft way of doing it, it doesn't need to be point to point precise. I think you can do it by eye just as well.
Well, that's the thing, because I come across a lot of stylists that either fall into that category where they absolutely have to follow an exact guideline, which you can do here. And there are other people that will look at each section and they'll be able to judge where they want to put that volume in. And both places will be the same place. They will be the same. The key is paying attention to each section as you go through. But either way works. And also, because we're cutting such a soft line in the hair, if there are any microscopic small differences,
it wouldn't matter.
You aren't going to see them anyway.
It wouldn't matter, yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you were doing a precision, everything in its place, then you would need to, but with this it doesn't matter.
It doesn't, it isn't as critical. The key thing really is, I think, is making sure that you're far enough into the section so that you're going to get the lift.
Yeah, and that's like what I was saying earlier about how this is the most difficult to get your head round, because you just want to go right up here
Yeah.
and do it right at the top.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit scary.
Yeah. And you'll find clients will do this, won't they? They'll start off, they'll have seen us at a demonstration or something, and they'll have a go. But because of fear, sometimes they'll start too far up the hair.
Yeah.
And if you do start too far, no volume.
You just don't get the benefit from the volume.
Yeah.
It still softens off the layers,
Yeah.
but you don't get that volume benefit.
Yeah. And that's, again, when people try something new and something different, which can be scary, the fact is, as soon as they blow dry the hair, you can see if you needed to go in. But the beauty is, if that's the case, you can pick the hair up again.
Yeah, and do it again.
Go through, put in the layers where you need them, and get the volume that you need. Because again, if you cut in what I call a traditional way with a solid blade, as soon as you've cut it in a blunt line, it's all gone.
Yeah.
This gives you that bit more flexibility when you're working.
It's a bit more forgiving.
That's quite a good way to put it, actually, yeah. But again, it's nice for the stylist as well, because it's a little less pressured and it's a little bit more relaxing when they're working through long hair.
And I think for long hair as well, like that is the main thing that people come and say is, I want to keep the length, but I just want some volume in it.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes before this you'd be like, that's impossible.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, you'll actually see clients in the chair holding on to the length, saying, you know, if you cut the length, somebody will get hurt. But it's important that we give the clients what they want, keep the long hair, but give them the volume that they want. And for instance, you look at Sarah now, we know we've put those layers in and that lift that we're going to get. But at the same time, if she's now perhaps got a formal occasion, a wedding, we've still got loads and loads of length.
Yeah.
We can do rollers, we can do chignon, we can do, we've still got the options there because we've still got the length to work with. I think that's important as well, isn't it? Giving your clients versatility in the hair.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've done it, I'll be honest, right? I'll make a confession. When I was cutting hair in my earlier career and I only used a solid blade, there were times where I desperately wanted to give them the volume and I'd end up sacrificing length through the top, and they'd end up with really quite short layers here with really long layers, and it just didn't work in the same way.
Probably looked all right back in the day when you were doing that. Yeah.
Back in the day, yeah. So is that us? That's us done?
Yep.
Okay, so it's blow dry time. We'll come back afterwards and show you how that blow dry works, and then we're going to go through the finishing details with Sarah's hair dry. Okay, so now we've blow dried Sarah's hair, I'm going to show you a couple of things, and these are things that we get asked to show people a lot, isn't it? Especially on this particular long cut. Because we've used the Evo blade in order to create this nice bounce through the hair, people think, because of the shape of the blade or the look of the blade, that they're going to see marks between where the hair's been layered through to where the hair hasn't been layered. As you can see, there are no cut marks actually through the hair. And also, to demonstrate that a little bit more for you, what I'm going to do is just put in a couple more extra layers through the crown area to give it that bit more lift, but without taking any more off the length. It's very easily done, exactly the same principle. As we lift the hair up, I'm going to cut through here to give it extra lift. That's just there. And two. And although you can just see where I've cut the hair there, as soon as I comb the hair through, again, there are no marks, there are no lines or anything through the hair. It all flawlessly merges in to the rest of the hair. So I'm going to do just a couple more sections through the crown area, exactly the same way, just to enhance the extra lift through that crown area.
Would you say you can do this on any hair type?
Absolutely, any hair type. You know, it's the ladies with the fine hair that really notice the benefit from this. That's a really good point, because they're the girls that need that lift.
People often say, you know, you wouldn't do that on finer hair, but actually that's what I prefer to do it on, because that's where they need the scaffolding in the hair.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I've got clients that, and there you are again, look, it's flawless, you don't see anything. Yeah, and these are the people that need that cut there for that extra lift. The only difference is that you are doing less cuts through this area here, because they just don't have as much hair, but they really need that lift lower down to give them, as you'll see here, look, you can see already that we're getting that really nice lift through the crown area, but look, she still has all the length that she needs if she wants to wear her hair up, she wants to put curls or waves in it, and so on. So that, yeah, that's a really good point. Obviously, the thicker the hair, the more you're going to take after you've done the volume cut. But it comes down to that principle again of balance.
Yeah, and just balancing the weight of the haircut.
Yeah, and I'm always trying to find better ways to explain it to people. And I find a good one is, no matter the length of the hair, if you're doing a short cut or a long cut, look at how much length you have, look how much weight you have in there. And when you get the balance right of weight to length, the hair just starts behaving more like the kind of hair people want. They've got hair that's more manageable, they've got hair that's got more bounce and lift in it. And you don't always have to cut the length. That's the really nice thing about doing this. You see there's our third section. I'll just turn Sarah around and you can see straight away, look at the amount of lift and volume we can create. There's no product in there, there's no back combing, but you've got this beautiful soft movement and everything just blends together flawlessly through the haircut. I'm going to do one more section just in front of that, and then we're all done except for maybe a little bit of detail around the fringe area.
Yeah, around the fringe, and I think a little bit of shape around the front as well.
Yeah. So shall I hand it over to you and you show us how you'd shape that fringe area? Yeah. Fantastic. And again, was that be using the Evo blade? Fantastic.
So whenever I would do a fringe, I would always just over direct it to the other side. So this is literally the simplest way to cut a soft side fringe into somebody's hair.
Shall I just turn you around so we can see through there? No, that's great. There you go.
So taking the fringe, again over directing it, so just taking it across to the other side, and then I'm just going to work on that outer triangle.
So you're just layering that through really softly.
Yeah, let's take that little bit of length off.
I think a key to this, and I know something from my own experience as a stylist, is sometimes when you work through these long fringes, there's a tendency sometimes to get a real corner through here. And I found doing it this way, you never get a corner.
It's so soft.
It just flows in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that's your first section. What would you do after?
And then I'm going to carry on. So what I'm going to do is just blend that fringe into the length through here. So she's got a little bit of shaping in there, but I just want to add a touch more.
Again, the hair's been pulled straight out, and I notice again, and we will often say this to our clients, try and always have the scissors travelling down, or we call it downhill, so you're travelling away.
Always away from the crown,
from the
you
crown,
imagine.
Yeah. And the reason for that is we get that really nice soft rounded shape, and you go in with the flow of the haircut. I see so many hairdressers when I'm out and about, and what they'll do for this kind of fringe work, I know I used to do this, I'd get out my solid blade and I used to kind of chip into it, but if you think about it, I was going against the grain.
Yeah, and it makes a big difference there, actually.
Yeah. And do you know, I used to do it, right? And as much as I'd chip and slice for all I was worth, and I tried everything, trust me, every time I did this, I'd always end up with a corner. Used to drive me crazy, but here you can see, straight, look at that, it's just merging flawlessly into the length.
Yeah, I'm just going to go do another section through there. But same thing.
Yeah. And because the cut is so soft, it naturally blends, one section blends into the next.
Yeah, you don't have any sort of chunky, horrible, bulky bits.
I couldn't put it better myself, actually. Yeah, look at that.
Technical.
That's also good because sometimes clients will come in with long hair and they'll want it to be very, very shaped onto the face. So exactly the same technique, but you're perhaps taking a little more length off so that it does fall onto the face.
And you get like the perfect sort of feathering around the face through there.
Another one as well, and I know you do a lot of work with hair extensions. How do you find this works on extensions?
Yeah, really well. I sometimes use my soft cut rather than my Evo, just because it's really soft, as it says. But
which is this one. So you want it really super soft. That's great.
Yep. And then the other side. So again, travelling away. So I'm going to come over Sarah here.
And again, the scissors flowing in the direction that the hair grows. You're coming downhill You're not going against the grain. I think
down into the length rather
yeah.
than up against the length of the hair.
And as I said, you can see that just naturally flows with the direction that the hair's growing and the way that the hair falls, which is really important. And your posture looks great because, again, you're upright, everything's in the right place. The amount of times I'll see, you know, another hairdresser, like I used to do, where I used to kind of like have to, with a normal solid blade, kind of chipping in to try and make it soft. When you're using some technology, it allows you to flow with the haircut. Really important posture and things like when we're designing the product, the scissors should fit the grip of your hand, so it's easy for you to do that. And this is something I point out to people when I'm out and about in salons. As an example, I've got a traditional scissor here that's designed by an engineer, okay, and one of ours, which is one of my designs. There are quite a few differences. For instance, this is completely flat, whereas something that we do is more designed to fit the hand. It's more of a 3D grip. And when you hold the scissors together, as an example, with a traditional scissor, the scissors pointing this way. With ours, so that's 12 o'clock, this is 1 o'clock. If somebody was doing any point cutting or chipping in, they've got to lift the elbow that much higher when they're working. But when it's ergonomic, it allows you to drop your elbow. And again, you've got more maneuverability. And I think that's one of the key things when someone's choosing the right scissor, that they get something that fits the hand. It just makes your posture better, less aches and pains and so on. And
it should just be comfortable, shouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And that's why we never sell scissors with handles at the same length, because by using something like this, the hairdresser's got to tuck their thumb right under here, which causes a big squeeze on the hand. And you hear about, especially more mature hairdressers that do get problems with the hand, whereas when it's designed to just naturally fit on, it's a lot better in the long run. So, as a quick recap to this lovely long haircut that we call the halo, what I've done is I've made this model, which is like an instant snapshot of exactly what we've done through the haircut. First of all, you'll see the halo section here from the temple all the way around to just below the crown. And just as we've sectioned across in the haircut, you can see that the hair's lifted up at 90 degrees. And then the green area is where we cut the volume. The yellow area is where we cut the inner layers, and then the white area is the overall length. We only cut, remember, through this top halo section, and as that falls down, you get given this lovely volume shape through the top, but also, and quite surprisingly, it completely merges in to the rest of the layers. And that is a simple insight into how we go about doing the halo cut.